What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Tasker's Barbecue Supply. I'm your host, Steven, and today we've got a pretty cool video planned for y'all. So, with Super Bowl just around the corner, we thought we'd take this time to show you how to make an awesome dish to take to your Super Bowl party or to any game night. So, we're going to be teaching you how to make brisket nachos. But, before we get started, make sure you drop down there and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you click the bell notification so you get notified of all our future videos. And let's get rolling into the video. Alright, so first step to brisket nachos is the brisket. But you don't have to use a cooked brisket you're cooking today. The great thing about this recipe is it's awesome for leftover brisket, if you have any. Generally for us, we don't have any leftover brisket, so I've got a fresh one here. But if you have some leftover brisket, you can chop it up and make this, a day, 2 days later after you built your brisket. Now, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be using this brisket flat. We found this at the butcher shop. It's about an 8-pound brisket flat. They had it on sale, and I thought, man, that'd be great for doing something like nachos or, even just chopped brisket sandwiches. So we're going to be going ahead and cooking this one today. We're not going to go super in depth with the smoking process. We have videos showing you how to cook brisket. We'll pin them up top. But I just want to show you what we're going to do with it seasoning-wise. I've already trimmed this brisket down. Just simple trim, we took everything off the top, trimmed our fat cap down on the bottom. And we're going to be hitting it today with some of Blues Hog's Sweet and Savory Rub. Now, I really like this rub. It's great on ribs, it's great on pork, but it's a really, sweet, savory, classic barbecue taste. And that's what I want to do in this brisket. I want this brisket to have a classic barbecue taste. Now, for me, if I'm doing normal brisket at home, just slicing it, I like a Texas-style brisket. But for this one, I want to have a barbecue flavor. So all we're really going to do is just coat this thing down with this Blues Hogs.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody and stained from the people who deceive.
And don't be afraid to go pretty liberal with it. Again, brisket's a pretty big chunk of meat, so you can put a good bit of seasoning on it. And we're going to be chopping it, so I like going a little extra heavy on the seasoning myself. So we're just going to season the top side here as well.
Who deceive me, muddy ends break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check as I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second, this life is a lesson. He got a new engine from pain, that's a blessing, new focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession, all in his possession. You got their attention, I'll leave an impression and take your redemption, just kill no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me.
Okay, so we've got our brisket all coated down. And like I say, I'm pretty liberal with the seasoning on this because it's going to be chopped up, so it's going to break that bark up a little bit. So we've got a good coat on this. We're just going to let this thing sit for probably 20 minutes or so and just absorb a little bit of that seasoning. Let it pull some of the moisture up and tack that seasoning up on the outside. We're going to be cooking this thing today on our Assassin 48 charcoal smoker. Obviously, we're going to be using Jealous Devil charcoal, some of the best charcoal on the planet. We're going to be cooking this thing with some pecan and some cherry wood. I kind of like that combination. The cherry gives it a really nice color, a little bit of fruity flavor. And then that pecan comes behind with a more earthy tone. And I think it's a really cool combination for brisket. It works pretty well on pork too, but I really like it for brisket, that pecan flavor. So we're going to go ahead and let this thing rest. We've already got our grill fired up, and it's up to temperature. So like I said, I'm not going to go over a whole lot of the cooking process. We're just going to throw this thing on at 275 until We wrap it. We're just doing a Texas Crunch today, foil wrap. And then when it's done, we'll pull it inside. We'll let it rest for a couple hours, and then we'll bring you back when we're actually starting to chop it up. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing on the grill, and we'll be back in a little bit.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gonna live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad. I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad. Doing no cap. Only got one, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad. Baby, I'm bad.
All right, everyone, we're back. We have our brisket all smoked up and ready to go. It smells delicious. We finished this thing off right about 205 degrees in our Assassin. Now, like I said, we did the Texas Crunch, so we just put 2 layers of foil over this. I put in some of Butcher Barbecue's butter grilling oil in with it, and just to give it a little bit of that butter flavor and a little bit more moisture. Buddy, when we open up the foil in this thing, it is drenched in fluid, so it is definitely moist, very tender. It has a nice consistency to it. So we're going to go ahead and slice this up. Now I'm going to take at least probably like the back half of this, and we're going to chop it to make our nachos. The front half I can probably actually slice up and keep for us to eat. But like I said, this is good for doing leftover brisket. You don't necessarily have to cook one that day. But I didn't have any leftovers, and I found this one pretty cheap, so we figured we'd make this video for you. So, without further ado, let's slice open this brisket. We're just going to cut it in half here. It looks perfect on the inside. As you can see, there's definitely a bunch of juice running out of it. We got a nice little smoke ring on it here. So we'll go ahead and slice some pieces up. I'm going to leave them relatively thick because, like I said, we're going to chunk them up anyway. And now that we have the back half sliced up, you know I got to take a slice off the front of this and at least try it. That is definitely what you're looking for on brisket right there. So let's pop that apart. Beautiful flavor on that. That barbecue seasoning does not overpower. It just has nice background flavor to it. We didn't inject this or anything, so it's not super different on the inside. You know, it's just typical brisket flavor. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just start chopping this up. You know, no fancy way of doing it. Just we're going to start chopping.
Hey, I got something to say. I'm just so sick of hearing everyone complain. I know it's tough and I know there's pain, but hitting bottom is the only way to change. So I'll keep hustling, you keep struggling. Bitch, I'm humbling, keep mumbling. I'll keep doubling, you keep bluffing. You've got nothing, I'll keep hustling.
Okay, like we said, nothing fancy here, just making some normal chopped up brisket. So now what I'm going to do is we have a couple pounds of chopped up brisket here. I'm going to go ahead and put it back in a pan, and I'm going to add some of the juices that came out of the wrap of this brisket. Just a little bit more barbecue seasoning, tossed around, get it all moistened up, and then we'll get everything else ready to start building our nachos. All right, we're back. I have a whole pan here of our chopped brisket, and what we did was we added the juices out of the wrap in here, put a little bit more barbecue seasoning, kind of toss it up a little bit, and let it rehydrate some. Now what I've got is I've got a number 9 cast iron pan here, and I've put all my corn chips in here, and we've got yellow corn chips, kind of a classic nacho chip. we've put everything in this pan because what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and throw this in our oven. But you can put this in the oven, you can put it in a smoker and anything, and just heat everything up, and it just makes it a lot more delicate and a lot better taste to it when it's warm. You know, all the elements of this nachos get warmed up. What I've got here is I've got Tostitos queso cheese. I'm a big fan of queso, and their queso dip is awesome. So we're going to put some of that on top of there. And then we've got some barbecue sauce from Lems Meat Varnish down in Charleston, West Virginia. He says it's world's best sauce. He's not joking. It's some of the best out there. We're using his hot blend to give it a little spice. We've got some pickled jalapenos, and then we've also got our Mexican blend of cheese here. So we've got queso, we've got cheddar, we've got Monterey Jack in here. So we're going to start off by putting a nice layer of some of our queso cheese on here first. Get that all spread around in here. And don't forget to get the edges. You don't want anything missed out here. And I'm just going to save a little bit of that back. And then I'm going to start by adding some of our brisket to it. And guys, this is where you can kind of customize this as much as you want. It's your dish. You know, you don't have to follow these exact recipes or these exact ingredients step by step. You know, if there's something different you want to add to it, this is where you can customize everything. And nachos, there's not a whole lot you can throw in nachos that are going to make it turn out bad. So you can really throw anything you want in here. We're just going with the standard nachos, you know, meat, cheese, a little bit of jalapenos, a little bit of barbecue sauce. But you can hold off on the barbecue sauce if you want a little bit more traditional nachos. You can add more barbecue seasoning to this if you want. But like I said, I'm going pretty liberal with the meat. I like to have a good bit of meat in here. I want it to cover every single chip when we bring this out. And just kind of spread it all around in here. All right, that looks good. Now we're going to go over top with some of our shredded cheese. And a nice thing about using shredded cheese as well as a queso actual cheese dip is the shredded cheese is going to give you that stringier, tackier cheese feel, where the dip is going to give you that classic nacho soft cheese. And then once I've put that, I'm going to go ahead and add some more of my queso dip cheese on top of here. All right, now my favorite part. We're going to put some of that Lems hot over top of that. And I want this to be very barbecue flavored, so I'm going to go pretty heavy with the barbecue sauce. But again, you can do this however you want. All right, now we're going to throw some of these jalapenos on top of here. And we're not huge on really spicy stuff, so I'm not going to put a ton of them, but at least I want to put a few of them on there. So now this is ready to go. We're going to go ahead and throw this in the oven, bake it for probably about 10, maybe 15 minutes. We just want that cheese to start melting in there nice, get those nacho chips nice and hot, get everything really heated up. So when we pull it apart, you have nice, warm, stretchy cheese on there. So we're going to go ahead and throw this in the oven, and we'll be back in here in just a minute. All right, now the moment we've all been waiting for. We went ahead and left this in the oven at 350 for about 10 minutes. Everything got nice and warm, all the cheese got melted, everything's kind of sticking to all those nacho chips in here. Everything is definitely well covered on these, there's no skimping out. After we pulled it out, we put some stripes of sour cream over top of it. Again, optional if you want to do that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pull one of these out and try it. They're still probably pretty hot, but I want to try one here. And I want to make sure I get a good chunk of brisket on here. Some of that cheese. We definitely got some of that Lems Meat Varnish on here. Make sure we get some sour cream. Let's give it a taste test. Man, if those aren't the best nachos you've ever had, you let me know where you've had better. I mean, these things are outstanding. That brisket is just so soft and melt in your mouth. The queso mixes with that Lems Meat Varnish so well. And the Lems Hot gives us just a little bit of heat to it. The jalapenos are there if you want somebody who wants a little bit more heat to it. But for me, that Lems Hot gives the perfect amount of heat. You get a little bit of that creaminess from the sour cream in there. I mean, this is just out of the ballpark. This is something that obviously, like I said, if you have leftover brisket, very simple to make. Probably take you 20 minutes to make everything. So it's a quick recipe you can slap together if you got people coming over for game night. Like I said, Super Bowl's right around the corner. This would be awesome for a Super Bowl party. And you can see a pan like this right here is going to feed a lot of people. You can make a bigger tray of it. You know, obviously you can put this out on a cookie sheet, make a huge tray out of it. Something very simple to do, take to parties and everything. I think this will be a pretty good party favor for us to take from now on. But I'm glad you all joined us today. We hope you got something out of this video. If you did, make sure you drop down in there, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and we'll catch you on the next one.